Those who are willing and able to reinvent themselves as the need arises are the ones who are going to change the world. Business as usual is very costly to humanity as a whole. When we rest on the laurels of the status quo, we arrest the process of innovation. We don't move forward. Creative ideas are on pause. And without the collective feminine contribution to the forward positive momentum of humanity, we are ensuring that the balance is skewed toward the hyper-masculine paradigm of world order that is long overdue for a reset. Aggression, oppression, domination, overt violence, competition, separation will continue to reign supreme if we continue to sit on our hands and expect someone else to step up and wear the mantle of thought leader or way shower. Balancing the scales towards a more egalitarian society is an inside job. Restoring harmony and flow to a hypermasculine paradigm that is off the rails in so many ways is a charge, a sacred task, and a divine duty that must now be entrusted to the women and the men in our society who have a healthy and balanced inner and outer expression of the qualities of divine masculine and divine feminine, respectively. Humanity's current collective worldview is not self-sustaining. If we believe in a greater destiny for humanity, our future society is one that requires innovation and fresh ideas that create a higher vision for all. Executing that vision requires that we, as women, show up in the world with a bigger, bolder vision for ourselves and all of humanity. We are charged with the task of transforming ourselves and the world while channeling the highest and most altruistic human expressions of compassion, kindness, tenderness, understanding, and equality. With this, we prepare the fertile ground that will give birth to a whole new paradigm of prosperity that benefits the many instead of the few. But we must first start by correcting our inner imbalance. Truth is, as women, we have mastered the art of reinventing ourselves to match or meet the fixed limits of our society, or what we think are the fixed limits, so that we can just get by with what we need. We've been well groomed over thousands of years to be able to do this. We've also been able to do it in the midst of one particular very mixed message. Be everything, but act like it's nothing. This is a mentality that has been imposed on women for far too long. This very limiting and confusing identity has not only given us one hell of a personality crisis, but it's also shaped our lives in some very unhealthy ways. This limiting identity feels something like: be the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the perfect employee, the perfect lover, girlfriend, daughter, sister, friend, but be content and satisfied with little or no acknowledgement, recognition, or praise for it. In fact, you're not doing enough. Do more. But try to take up as little space and as few resources as possible as you're doing it. Don't complain. Don't ask for more than what you absolutely need. And don't call too much attention to yourself either. As I speak this, I'm surprised at how much this hits home for me, for many women I know personally, and for many of my clients as well. Those who are willing and able to reinvent themselves as the need arises are the ones who will change the world. So how do we do it? We must learn how to enact our inner ideal of greatness so we can embody and exhibit the highest expressions of courage, confidence, self-esteem, self-possession, fearlessness, innovation, creativity, inspiration, imagination, sovereignty, autonomy, kindness, and compassion. When we individually and collectively showcase these high-value altruistic traits and lead by example, we become an unshakable and uncompromising force for positive change in the world. We must be able to get really comfortable with personal transformation. In fact, we've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable as we do this. We are wired to resist change and the unfamiliar. It's imperative that we learn how to gracefully find our flow and sync up with the forward movement of such a fast-paced and ever-changing world. Simply put, we can't keep being who we've been. Our current systems and models of reality are dismantling and dissolving as we speak. Our false foundations are crumbling at our feet. In other words, the version of you that needed to just get through life is not strong enough to ride the wave of expanded energies that are continuing to grace us here on Mothership Earth. We won't survive the wake of increasingly powerful, soul-awakening, ego-shattering energies presenting themselves to us if we continue to sit on our hands and pretend there isn't anything left for us to do other than admit defeat and say, we don't know what else to do. It's time to act accordingly as the creators, the dreamers of the future that we are, to take deliberate and bold action and assume control of our fate. It's imperative that we boldly step outside of the fear that it's not safe to have more than enough of what we need. Right now, many women are craving the ability to make a greater impact in their lives and in the lives of others. We can't give anything of value from an empty cup. When we move beyond the constant state of struggle, where we have just our basic needs met, only then are we supported enough to focus on the creative and inspired pursuit of creating an impact in the world. And we all have the ability to create impact in the world. When we have more than enough of everything we need, and that becomes our new normal, we can step into increasingly expanded possibilities for experiencing greatness. From there, we get to pay it forward to everyone and everything that touches our hearts. When we are fortified by radical self-acceptance of our worth, self-recognition of our value, we become an immovable force that is impervious to anything outside of us that can detract from or diminish our quality of life. In truth, we have more to fear from our own unexamined, subconsciously held beliefs about lack, want, unworthiness than we ever have to fear about the mystery of what's ahead. Our ability to sabotage something good in our lives because it feels too big or too great is a far bigger threat than any unseen hand taking away our good fortune. Anything that reeks of too muchness in our lives, too much money, too much love, too much time, too much freedom, has the potential to derail our success and our forward path if we're unable to feel safe and completely comfortable with having more than enough of what we need in all areas of our lives. It's time to stop marinating in the negative core emotions that have been the driving force in our lives up until now. These negative core emotions have shaped us in countless ways and have created our worldview. It has created conflict, torment, and confusion within us for years. We've constantly felt at war with ourselves. The conflict we feel from desiring to be the bold new version of self, making an impact in the world, while we're still thinking, feeling, and acting as the old version of self, puts us in a place where we can't see beyond our problems. When we stop for a moment to feel into what we really want, we often say we don't know. I call bullshit. We do know. We're afraid to whisper it into the stillness and call it into being, because then we have to acknowledge how powerful we truly are. And we shrink away from the responsibility of being so powerful. A sobering thought, but true nonetheless. As women, we're still very wounded and fearful of holding too much power. Not me. Not anymore. And never again. As women, we must learn how to become masters of reinvention. We can no longer be afraid of what feels too big. A greater expression of self will only and ever feel too big if we are playing too small. We're getting called into the adventure of life in new ways all the time. We're crying out for inspiration on how to make a bigger mark in this world, to carve out our slice of paradise, and to live beyond our dreams. Begin stepping toward your new destiny now. Name and claim what you really want. What will support you and make you happy? What will fill your cup?